Hello. So today, yeah, look, very interesting game, or not, depending on which way you look at it. But there is certain things that need to be spoken about. Obviously, it's player ratings, but we're going to go into a lot more detail about certain specific parts of the game. I've got a bit of a tactical part of this video as well, so I'm not just going to show ratings of a player and explain why I thought it kicked the ball well in one direction. I'm going to give some actual substance behind what I say, because I want to up it a little bit more. I want to do a little bit more. So yeah, the game against West Brom, and we'll start with the centre back. Like I said, unless the goalkeeper has anything really, I don't really like. I can't be bothered talking about it. I'm not a goalkeeper. Don't really care. So centre backs. See, you always look at this, and you always look at the goals, and you always think, is there a mistake there? And there's a lot of context to that first goal, and I'm going to break it down, and it is in this video very soon. When we get to the midfielders, I will show you the build up to the goal. Now, the whole Strout is very aggressive, and you know, he fouls, he doesn't need to foul him. I think there's a key distinction here. I'm fairly sure he's been told. Now, in this game specifically, by the way, not generally speaking, because I know he can be, but this one was different because he did the exact same thing on the same player in the same area 4 times in the first half. The exact same thing. One of the time he wins the ball, or 2 of the times he won the ball, 2 of the times he gave it away, 1 was for the goal. I'm fairly sure that's instruction. Why? Because in my opinion, or what I believe he's been told, Adam Armstrong, right? You know what he's going to do. He likes to get the ball in them spaces where Pascal fouls him. And all he will look for is one quick good touch away from the defender and a pass to someone supporting him behind him. And then it's a spin behind. And then you're in trouble. So and he did that against us how many times last season? How many goals did this guy get last season? A very dangerous player at this level. Very dangerous. So how do you nullify that? You don't let him. My thinking is, Barker wanted Pascal to be overly aggressive on Adam Armstrong, so he didn't create the 1-2s that he usually does. Look against the goal against in the playoff final. I think that was an instruction. I do think that was an instruction because it was overzealous. Strout can be in moments, but he did it every time. So I do think that was an instruction because he didn't want that 1-2 running behind the space goal, Adam Armstrong. You know what it is. We've seen it all. However, there's a lot of context to that goal that we'll go through it. But apart from that, I think it was a good battle. I think Adam Armstrong won a lot of the duels, as we've seen. I also think we did quite well to nullify their strengths at times. It may seem harsh as a score, but that is context depending on whether that was instruction, which I basically the amount of times he did it in the exact same position, the exact same, kind of shape, 100% is. But yeah, I thought they were fine after that. Again, lost a few, give a few fouls and stuff like that. But Joe Rodon, for me, just continues his fantastic form, to be honest with you. There is an issue with the goal in terms of the marking. It's really hard to tell who's who. But Bogle, for the goal, is left with a 2v1 at the back. One of the guys I'm fairly sure was Rodon's man. I'm not 100%. It's hard to tell. I've tried watching it, but they're never really marking. He kind of just runs back into Bogle and then he gets out jumped. So hard to tell. But the fullbacks, and I really want to get into the midfielders. I'm just going to mention the fullback. I mean, Firpose, he's an absolute joke, when he gets forward. Did get beat 2 or 3 times in the second half. Did get beat. We have to say that. But going forward, he was outstanding. Of course he is. He always is. I think his crosses are interesting. I think he tries to find certain areas, and it's down to us to be in them areas. But in contrast to that, you have Joe Perreault, who you need to find. He's not really an areas player, in my opinion. You have to find him. So that's where the confusion comes in for me at times with the crosses, where they don't quite look great because it's 2 different wavelengths. I think the higher up Firpo is crossing them, the cutbacks on more. Whereas when he's more wide or more straight, the ball is naturally into where Dan James is going to run into, because you can find a space when it's Dan James, right? Not really for Perreault, because Dan James is ultra quick and will attack the box. Perreault will find a space and settle in it. But great goal, and this was the key contrast for me. You know, when people talk about the goal and how we played, you look at the goal, everything was precise, patient. Final decision was excellent. The final ball was excellent. The movement was excellent. After that, that was the downfall. I think most of the game was similar, but we didn't quite find the right combination after the midfield for me, which we've seen, and that can happen when players at the front have so much freedom to create attacks, which they do. It's hard at times to find them consistencies, and that's what we didn't do. It's not complacency for me. It really isn't. I know people are using that. I think it's so easy to say, you know, they became complacent because they think they've won the league. I honestly don't think that's the case at all. I don't think they're that fragile mentally. We've won a few games. They're probably really confident. It may be overconfidence. Trying the difficult pass every single time as opposed to just relaxing on the ball, thinking that we're so good we can score at any chance. Let's just get it into them areas really quickly. When, if you look at the goal, the reason we scored it is because we didn't do that. We were patient and decisive with what we did. We took our time with each pass, each movement, and we stopped doing that. That's the thing for me. And that's something you have to drill in, you know. Stay to what we're doing. Don't try to be over, because this is a good team. They're a compact team. They're a good team. They've got very dangerous players. You know, it's different. It's a different type of game. You know, so yeah, and I think that was the mistake for me. And for the goal, I've seen people blaming Bogle. Look, people. One, he gets sandwiched by two of them. One goes into him, who's not on the ball. He's like blocking him. And then the second one, Furlong, is about what? This much bigger than him? Well, this much. So, what did you expect? I have no problem with that at all. There was a 2v1 at the back post, which I don't understand how it's happened. That's the problem. 2v1 at the back post is the problem. That should not happen in any form. That is terrible from us. So it's not his fault in remote. But even saying that, I think he started the game well, but again, drifting into it, he did get well, he did continue to do the things, but for his standard, you needed a little more product at the end, you needed a little more decisive decision making. And that's kind of a key theme in this entire video. Midfield. Now, I think Rothwell had a very interesting game. Now, this is kind of the issue, and I'm going to go into some tactical stuff in a second because there is some issue with him defensively. And when I say defensively is such a wide range thing. He's a smart player. He's good at his role. He can sniff out trouble. But I just think his blind space, the space behind him or the space that he's leaving, isn't as controlled as a defensive midfielder. Because naturally speaking, a defensive midfielder, they're all their life has learnt that space. He hasn't. He's going forward. That's where his thing is. He's not an incompetent defender, but there's moments in games where he can be, and that's the key part. There's a big distinction there. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he's bad defensively, but put it this way, right? Coming from a recruitment perspective, if you're recruiting a player to be a defensive midfielder who can cover space, stay central, always be that anchor, always be that aggressor in midfield, are you going to go for Rothwell? He's probably not in the top 1,000 players you're going to go for, all right? Are you probably going to go for Saka? Probably not. Do you know what I mean? You'll probably look at Aguero, you'll look at Ampadu. This is my point. So I'm not even criticising him here. I'm just saying this is a situation where, for the goal, and I'll show it in a sec, where he's done something that he shouldn't have done, and a defensive midfielder would not have done. But on the ball, it was, and I'm going to show that 1 second. On the ball, I think this is the point that I made earlier and Farker made. It was very let's go straight away, quickly. I don't think he was the main culprit of that. I think it is the final third, but there is a few times where he tries that pass, but either the person he's passing to isn't on the same wavelength or the execution isn't great. There's times where it did come off. There's times where he drove forward with it and we look good. This is the point. Everyone has to be on that same wavelength. I don't think they were. That's not necessarily his fault. But for his standard again, there was 2 or 3 passes he tried over the top that didn't work out. There was 1 or 2 simple ones to feet. I think it was to Joseph, who lost it. And then when he loses it, that's a transition moment where you're a little worried. And I'll show you what I mean right now. Right, so this is for the goal, and I'll go through the details of it. I'll break it down for you. So look at the two big red arrows. So here and here. So this is the key battle. There's three key battles here, and it's Rothwell and his man, and it's Pirro and Malumbi, and it's Junior Firpo. Now the key thing is here. We have enough out wide to prevent an overload. Their fullback is here, yes. There's no one else in this space. So Firpo there, he is the balance. He's covering the space of the midfielder. Right, he's covering this space. In case anyone runs in behind, Firpo is covering it, and that's the key thing. The second the ball goes out here, Solomon will track. Firpo will cover this space. Rothwell, right now, in the central space, is doing good. The ball's just coming from Bartley into the number 14. Rothwell is tracking him. Good. That's what I mean. He's there. He's aggressive. He's putting pressure on. This is what he can do. He's very good at it. Pirro and Malumbi. This is the issue. And this becomes an issue. I'll show you why. Again, I reiterate. Pirro Malumbi. He's on him for now. Solomon is getting ready to go out wide to press him. Rothwell, good job. Forcing back. Not being beat. Good. Firpo, he's still that balance, as you can see. Firpo is there to cover. Tanaka is kind of there to cover. He's there to press. Pressure. Now, this is where it goes wrong. Here. So the second the 21 gives the ball out wide, Rothwell follows him. And he doesn't have to. In the same breath, Pirro stops tracking Malumbi. This is the issue now. Firpo is still there. Solomon is about to press. Firpo is still covering this area. Which means Rothwell doesn't have to track the 21. Now that's communication. They need to talk. And he needs to tell him. Look at Tanaka in here. There's not a chance he should be in this space occupying 2. And what will become 3. So now look. The ball's gone out here. This is where the ball is. You can see my arrow. The ball's with him. Rothwell is still tracking his man. What's that left? Space for Malumbi. A lot of it. Look at Tanaka in here. No chance. 1, 2, 3, v1. No chance. Midfield overload shouldn't happen. Like I said, Pirro has left his man. This is the key part, and this is where this mouth is so important in football. All that has to happen here, Pirro has to say, at this point now, tell him. Tell him Malumbi's going, because I don't think Pirro should be that deep. So I don't think he's done it wrong in terms of tracking him, but he's done something wrong in terms of communication, clearly. Because Rothwell follows 21 when Firpo is covering. It's a 3v1 out there. Doesn't need to happen. You've got a 3v1 out wide, and you've left a 2v1 in the middle with Tanaka. Shouldn't happen. All he has to say, and all Firpo has to say to Rothwell is drop. Tanaka has to tell Rothwell, drop. All of them have to say, drop. We've got this. Doesn't happen. Rothwell follows him. This is the difference. The communication is off, but also, if you have a natural player there, they won't do that. They'll recognise straight away, he's gone wide, right, Firpo, you're literally there for that reason. I will drop, and I won't let my midfield guy in an overload. And Pirro has to tell him, drop. It's your man now. It's into the defensive third. Pirro doesn't need to be there. He's ready to press. Win the ball back. Like I said, doesn't happen. Rothwell tracks his man, leaves space for Malumbi, who's advanced. Tanaka's in big trouble. You know, this is what it looks like. This is what it should be. I've just edited a little bit. As you can see, Rothwell there with his man. Rothwell with his man. Should be here. Pass him on. It's so simple. We all hear it. Pass him on. Because I know people will say Pirro needs to track him. He doesn't. Because he's the central player in the press. He has to be there. This is the way you go, right, I've done my bit. Move him on. There's no one to move him on to because Rothwell's gone wide and he shouldn't have. He should have passed him on to Firpo and it should have looked like this. This is how it should have looked like. There's Rothwell. There's Malumbi. You just pass him on. Here. Look, he doesn't need to be there, does he? He should be here. Tanaka's exposed. Purple's there. Should be like that. And now look, they turn. Now we're in big trouble. There's not a chance in this world they should get the ball in this space with an overloaded midfield and space to exploit between the back line and the midfield. Not a chance. That's why he makes a foul. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 runners. And like I said, this is not even necessarily a Rothwell thing. Naturally in his brain, it's them little 2 or 3 seconds where I'm just going to follow him. You don't need to. But they have to tell him that. If he's not an experienced defensive midfielder who doesn't know these little intricacies of the role, they have to tell him. The experienced players around him have to tell him. Quite simple. Phil has to say, I've got him. Simple. I've got him. Perez tell him, drop Rothwell, drop. Tanaka, drop. Maybe they all did and he didn't listen. I doubt it. So that's my only thing. And that's a little bit of analysis I wanted to put into this. Communication is key. All he has to do is tell him to drop. It's that simple. Pass him on. And then Tanaka grew into the game. I thought, he especially in the set, I think he just dominated certain areas. I think he was really good, to be honest. Not his best performance, obviously, but just he's good every week. Yeah. And I just make clear, I'm not, there's consistencies here. And it's important to analyse a game. That's all I'm doing. I love Rothwell. I think he's absolutely mint. And going forward and all that stuff, he's really good. And generally, as I showed in the video, going back, being aggressive, he's very good as well. It's just after that, just leaving them spaces, he does do that. That's the communication. It needs to be better. Anyway, wingers. Yeah, I didn't enjoy him. I'll be honest. I did not enjoy them in this game. I'm not going to do what all the Athletic Online doomsday enthusiasts do, where the Manor Solomon had a poor game. He did. It was poor for his standard. Let me clarify. So apparently now that means he's been bad for months and he should be dropped instantly. And it's absolutely criminal that their boy Ramazani is not playing. How dare Farker drop this god of a player? It's honestly, I expect a genuine from children, and they're not. I know they're not. It's crazy, man. It is crazy, but that's the world we live in, isn't it? Everything is an online personality. You're not actually. Yeah, real world, whatever. Not going to get into that. And they're the loudest, they're the most critical. So funny. He had a poor game, no matter Solomon. It's not that deep. And this is the thing. If he's not in next game and Ramazani is, I don't care. Mint. Because Ramazani's a good footballer. Just like Solomon is. You know what the difference is? Recently, Solomon's been in really good form, so he's been playing. That tends to be how football works. And they're going to look, well, he's not scored or assisted in the last 3. We all watch the game. Anyone that can look at a game other than just the goal and assist can tell you 20 reasons why Solomon is playing and why he was good. It's so simple to change your narrative of performance. If you're talking about G&A, there's certain players that should be nowhere near the squad, apparently. But those are the same players that get defended when they're not scoring as well. Look at the game, watch the game. He had 1 poor performance in literally months. They've been waiting that long to do this, by the way. The second he had a poor performance, it went to Player FC again. Not bothered about the club. Player FC. It's crazy. It is crazy. Stop being children when you're not. How can you... I don't know. Just don't take it seriously, honestly. It is a bit embarrassing. He had a poor performance. It literally happens to every single player in the world. Every single player will have 4 or 5 at least poor performances in a season. Probably even 10. That's just the way it is. That's why it's a team sport. It's not an individual sport. It's not about an individual that people think it is. It's about a team. He had a poor performance. He got his decisions wrong. He was too hesitant on the ball. I'll be the first to admit that. Like you guys know, I'm harsh on wingers and he was poor. And I actually think these ratings are very high. Does that mean you need to over-exaggerate and burn everything down? No, it does not. It means you need to look at things. Why was it poor? What can we change? What was the problem? Was it fitness? Was it sharpness? Could this player have changed the game? Why didn't Ramazani come on? The fact that Ramazani didn't come on is down to the manager, and maybe they should be asked that in the press conference. Why has he got 0 minutes? And I'm sure one of the guys will. Otherwise, you're just guessing. There's a reason why he's not coming on. And if you could think Farke's incompetence and you think you could do anything 1% of what Farke's done in his football career, you're completely and utterly wrong. Because that's the problem. It's never a conversation or a discussion. It's terrible or amazing. There is so much common sense between that creates a conversation. That's what annoys me. It's just statement. I'll make a statement. Get him out, get him in, statement. Boy, get a statement, drop him, statement. Let's have a conversation. But yeah, whatever. Dan James, not his best performance. I don't want to talk about these two. They annoyed me. I love them a bit, but they did pee me off. Yeah, should have scored. Dan James, big chance. I don't know. Again, it's what Farke mentioned, just overcomplicating things. Trying to just do more, just get the ball and hit it at that goal. It's what you scored so many goals doing. Solomon, man, take that touch, make a decision quickly. Stop trying to get everything on the right. Take them shots at the edge of the box. Why has he not done it 2 or 3 times? You could have done it. Take your man on. Be brave. Win a foul. Does it. He's done it for months. Do it now. Look, everyone can have bad performances. I'm right with that, and I'm sure they'll be back next week if they both play. Like I said, if he brings on Ramazani in, sound. Don't care. They're all capable players. Like it's so weird that they pit players against each other. It's very strange. I don't get it. You're supposed to support the team, not the player. The player, you like the player. I like these players, but I'll criticise them. But anyway, it's what it is. And I mean, yeah. I'm watching so many games now with Aronson, just thinking we need a different option in there. We don't have that because we didn't get one. It's just games where teams all season are going to learn how to make him less effective. And I think again he started the game really well, but when that game kind of goes into a scrappy kind of bit of nothingness, he does struggle to find a role in that team other than the runner. But what I've liked about Aronson is he's brought much more than that, and I've done a video on that. Watch it or don't. But he's kind of lost that. He's not really picking the ball up in so many different spaces like he used to, like in the last few weeks. And this way you need an option in game as well. You need to change it in the game if it's not working, and we don't have that option. And people can say, Farke needs to play. I'm not Ramazani wanting a 10. Farke doesn't do that. He's never going to, because that's not his system. The system he's spent 20 years creating and that has got him success doesn't have small nippy wingers in the 10 unless we're very short there and that's the option. The fact is we're not short there because we have these two on the screen who do that. Look, even if they're good there or not, he's not going to do it unless they're not there, unless they're not in the picture. He just won't. It's a last resort for him. It always has been. Buendia didn't play there. He was a winger. Stuyperman played there. Rantic played there. Neuhaus, Borussia Mönchengladbach played there. That's who he plays there. He even put Pukki in there more times than he put Buendia in the 10, by the way. Like, this is the point. He doesn't want a winger there. His creativity is out wide. He wants a goal scorer or someone that can hold the ball up and create threat around the box, who can drop deep and do work there. That's what he wants. We're talking about a player in his system. This is what he wants. He doesn't want a winger there. He's not blind to it. It's not that he can't see it. He doesn't care about that. Unless that's the only option we've got. And if Joseph's injured and Perot's the only option in there, and if Aronson's form isn't great, then what do you do? My solution for that would have been to buy one because I thought we needed to, and a lot of people did as well. And this is evident of it because form happens. Aronson isn't playing as well as he has done in the last few months. He just isn't. You know, it's as simple as that. But then you're looking at it like this: is like if he does play a Ramazani in there, right? Say he does it. We've got no options, so he's got to. And we've only got one winger on the bench. We need to buy 2 or 3 players. I mention it. Joseph might be injured, and I hope he isn't, because I liked his cameo, by the way. I thought he played well when he came on. Wanted a cameo more than that. Unbelievable run. Nearly scored from it. Should have scored. And you're allowed to say that, by the way. People saying you can't. It's a great run. You can't say he should have scored. You think he shouldn't have scored. He thinks he should have scored. Unbelievable play. He was really good when he came on. I really liked his energy. But the fact of the matter is, we're short. But it is what it is. We'll be fine. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate all the support as usual. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye-bye.